Reporting continues now here on the Newsfeed PM. Thanks for staying on. It's been a month now since authorities completed a rescue mission at an illegal mining operation in Stilfontein. At least 78 people were killed in what rights groups believe miners were deliberately starved to death. Joining us now is Yasmin Omar, lawyer representing the Society for the Protection of Our Constitution. Yasmin, thank you for coming on. Of course, this has sparked a debate that's been ongoing, but I suppose the latest events have revived this debate, and that is the question of law enforcement versus, of course, compassion. And where is the balance?
Thank you, Tabo. Thank you for having us. Well, you'll remember when these proceedings started somewhere in September last year, there was an outcry from different civil organizations asking for government intervention to rescue the people underground. Now, that didn't happen immediately, and it took months of litigation with the different organizations going to court back and forth before that rescue effort happened in January. And now in the aftermath, people are correctly asking, how did it come about that now we've had a second disaster quite likened to that of Marikana, and what should happen? Correctly so, many organizations are now calling government to conduct an inquiry to establish exactly how this came about. How is it that in the name of policing, we've lost almost 80 or 90 lives? How is it that people were rescued who were so emaciated, whose basic human rights were taken away? So we, the Society for the Protection of Our Constitution, has supported other government, other civil society organizations in calling for that inquiry, because we have to ask, why did this go so wrong? Yeah. You will remember that when we started this, this public announcement of what was going on in Stilfontein, the Minister of Police was adamant that this is a policing operation, and that Vala Mgodi will involve people being smoked out from underground. And that resulted in what the civil society organizations are saying, a massive violation of human rights. The minister told the country that people were free to come out. They were simply hiding away from law enforcement. And from what emerged after that, you could clearly see that people were coming out in an impoverished, in such poor health conditions that nobody would willingly sit underground and die. And the almost 90 deaths cannot bode well for a method of policing. What organizations have called it was that starvation tactics were used in the name of policing. So the inquiry that we are currently calling for is for all relevant sectors of government, the Minister of Police, the Minister of Mineral Resources, to come and explain to the public why this happened. You will also remember that this is the campaign against Zama, so illegal miners, has been something that's ongoing and resulted in different sectors of business and civil society putting forward proposals for the amendment of mining legislation. And that amendment was for the recognition and for controls to be implemented for artisanal miners. And all of these aspects must be addressed in an inquiry.
So from what you're raising, the South African Human Rights Commission inquiry or national inquiry, which they are instituting, which will sit in May, it covers at least 3 areas of which you have mentioned. 1, the policy on artisanal mining, which you're mentioning. 2, the scope and tactics of the operation Vala Mgodi, and 3, the impact, of course, which you have not mentioned, on the surrounding community that the illegal mining is having. Do you think this will go far enough in unearthing what could have possibly gone terribly wrong?
I think one of the major factors that possibly is left out there is the involvement of mining companies and the resounding silence from them after so many deaths in mines that ought to have been properly closed by them. I think the inquiry will be something that will open discussion, and that an investigation to why the minister allowed for these mines to get off scot-free after not properly closing those mines. That is also an aspect that needs to be canvassed.
There are political parties who are saying, to your question of people being starved, to say those who entered the mine voluntarily must accept the risk.
Now, clearly, we don't want to be a democracy, a country that says look, so long as you conduct yourself illegally, we as government can violate every right in the Bill of Rights in the name of policing them. We do not want, we fought long and hard for the Bill of Rights in the fashion that it is. And there is no amount of reasoning or justification for us taking the stand that because they're doing something illegal, we can use any measure of force in policing, and even if it means compromising the right to life. That is clearly something that should not be happening.
Yeah,
and this was confirmed by the Constitutional Court, by the way, who accepted the reasoning that we will not allow people to be starved to death as an enforcement strategy.
Yeah, they're saying more than going after the authorities, the real people we should be going after are those who are exploiting these individuals, because they're saying these are victims of criminal syndicates that are linked to major corporations that are forcing these people into these kind of activities.
Absolutely. You will see that what originally started off as with the police saying that we want to apprehend illegal miners, it clearly revealed the layers of this of really what was going on in Stilfontein and in other disused mines in the country. There is an entire system created with people watching over these people, the miners who go underground. There are other people involved in it that need to be exposed. They need to be brought out in the public and need to be held accountable. You will remember that when the people were pulled out of that mine, we had young people, young children, who had been misled into what they were doing when they were brought into the mine. We were also told that there were gangs underground, heavily armed gangs. Now, who is funding all of that? Who has organized all of this to happen? And why the mining companies who own those mines not coming out and saying, but this is unacceptable, it shouldn't be happening. So all of those elements to what is going on in disused mines must be brought to the fore in such an inquiry.
Yasmin Omar, appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming on. That's Yasmin Omar there. Some civil society organizations saying that the miners were starved to death and they are demanding justice. She's with the Society for the Protection of our Constitution.